the edge of the map, cause here there be sea monsters. Will the Dragon, Kambal, and Ghalta realize that they need a bigger boat before they encounter Wrexial the Risen Deep? Find out next on Commander Replay. Alright, welcome back everyone. Playing some Wrexial the Risen Deep. Kept an opening hand that had 5 lands, a Traumatize, and an Altar of the Brood. Kambal's going to start off with a turn 1 Vampiric Tutor. So our turn 1, we draw into Rise of the Dark Realms. That'll be good much later in the game, but we are still a ways away from casting that. So we're just going to drop down an island and start off with this Altar of the Brood. I wanted to go with the basic land first, so that way we get maximum value off of the fetch land whenever we decide to use that. So as I mentioned, we're playing Wrexial the Risen Deep, is 3 blue, and a black for a 5/8 Island Walk, Swamp Walk. Whenever Wrexial deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that card would be put into a graveyard, exile it. Wrexial is a pretty cool Dimir-colored commander in that he lets you play spells out of your opponent's graveyard. And I don't know, I think he's really cool. He's really flavorful with the Island Walk, Swamp Walk. I think that's a pretty sweet combination. So yeah, in my opinion, Wrexial is just a fun commander, and I wish I saw a little bit more of him. People don't play him that much these days, but he can be pretty cool. Anyway, so opponent lays down a turn 2 Serra Ascendant, and Ghalta lays down a Jiraga Tree Speaker, and that'll bring us back to our turn. We are going to play this Misty Rainforest, get an Altar of the Brood trigger, auto that. Nice, we milled some Lightning Greaves out of our opponent's library. So we'll crack our fetch. I do not have Underground Sea in here, apparently. So we will get a Watery Grave, untapped, and we'll play our Dimir Signet. Ooh, nice! We milled a Mirari's Wake for the dragon opponent. And Altar of the Brood's going to trigger again. There's a Crux of Fate, No Mercy, and 3 lands for the Ghalta. Opponent's going to level up their Jiraga Tree Speaker. Birds of Paradise coming down for the Ghalta. Kambal, Console of Allocation coming down. So whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player is going to lose 2 life, and Kambal will gain 2 life. And Serra Ascendant coming into us. Yeah, it's no good. Hopefully they decide to spread that out and not just target us down. Based on what's on the table, I would say we are not the most threatening deck here. As fun as Wrexial is, I wouldn't call him the most powerful commander ever. Certainly a fun one, but I don't think anywhere near the power level of the Dragon or Ghalta. Anyway, back to our turn. We draw Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. We're going to wait on that just because that card tends to slow Magic Online down a lot. So we will play a Swamp, get another Altar of the Brood trigger. Nice, we hit an Angelic Accord from our opponent. Nothing else we can do at this point, so we'll pass the turn. Next turn we can fire off this Traumatize, and that sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, we hit a Cultivate. Nice. Cultivate is one of those sweet things that you want to hit with Wrexial. Reclamation Sage coming down. Bet that comes after our Altar. Yep, opponent decides to go after our Altar. Opponent says, thank God that the Altar's going down. Yeah, we got some value out of it. It milled what, like 12 cards? Lightning Greaves for the Ghalta. That's actually scary. Ghalta with haste is really scary. Liliana of the Dark Realms coming down for the Kambal opponent. And opponent decides to search for a swamp. So Serra Ascendant going at the Dragon opponent. Yeah, that's more like it. So Putrefy on the Serra Ascendant sounds good to me. Back to our turn, we draw a swamp. Right here we're going to fire off the Traumatize. And I think I'm going to go with the Dragon opponent because they have a lot of cool creatures and we have ways to reanimate creatures, including this Rise of the Dark Realms. So, it seems like a pretty good call to me. Also, because they're 5 colors, they'll probably have some of the best spells in each color. Even things like Putrefy, just having removal like that, assumingly they probably have Mortify in there as well. So, Traumatize, target opponent puts the top half of his or her library, rounded down, into their graveyard. And we lose 2 life off the Kambal Console of Allocation. Oh no, opponent reveals an Ulamog. It's going to shuffle his graveyard back in. Oh, that's so disappointing. Oh, there were so many good things in opponent's graveyard. Even just hitting that Cultivate, I really wanted that Cultivate. Looks like Vampiric Tutor is probably the next best thing. Yeah, that looks like the next best thing in the graveyard. Opponent's going to level up their Jiraga Tree Speaker. Dromaka the Eternal coming down for the Dragon opponent. By the way, we should take a look at what our opponents are actually playing. First up is the Dragon, is 4 and Wooburg for a 10/10 with Eminence. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to play. It has flying, and whenever one or more dragons you control attack, draw that many cards, then you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Very, very strong commander in the late game. And almost exclusively a dragon tribal commander. Orzhov Kirun coming down. Next up, we have Kambal, Console of Allocation. A commander we seem to have played quite a bit on the channel. Is 1 white black for a 2/3. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. So, Kambal, a life gain, life matters kind of deck. They probably have things like Felidar Sovereign in there that say you win the game for having enough life, and other similar type effects. We draw a Thran Dynamo. We're going to hold on to that for now, because I really just want to cast Wrexial this turn. And that's Wrexial coming in. The 5/8 Kraken. Ooh, Vigor coming down for the Ghalta opponent. That is a really good Magic card.
Vigor. Vigor.
For those that don't know, it's 3 green, green, green for a 6/6 trample. If damage would be dealt to a creature you control other than Vigor,
Vigor.
prevent that damage, and that creature gets that many +1/+1 counters on it for each damage prevented. And if it goes to the graveyard, it gets shuffled back into the library. Very good card. It means that someone's going to have to play a board wipe sooner or later. Unfortunately, that the Ur Dragon did have a board wipe in their graveyard, but we lost it when Ulamog reshuffled everything, so pretty annoying. Intet the Dreamer coming down for the Ur Dragon opponent. When Intet deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 and a blue, and if you do, exile the top card of your library, and as long as it's exiled, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. Dromoka the Eternal going to get a bolster trigger, and going to swing into the Liliana of the Dark Realms. I actually pulled Dromoka the Eternal out of my Scion of the Ur Dragon deck, and I think that might be a mistake. Every time I've seen it come down, it seems to do a lot of work, so I need to put that back into my Ur Dragon deck. So there's the Terminus. That's going to get rid of the Vigor, which was very problematic. Unfortunately, that does kill our commander, which isn't the best. It's going to slow our plans down. And that is the problem with a 6-mana commander that does not have haste. Sometimes you play it immediately into a board wipe. Back to our turn, we draw land. And not super helpful right here. We really need to get some card draw going. Lay down the Urborg. Play this Thran Dynamo. Terminus, also not great for our Rise of the Dark Realms. So, pass the turn, nothing else we can do this turn. Terminus is great too because it deals with things that are indestructible like Eldrazi. Also, it's very good against Reanimator style decks where they want to put things in their graveyard. Occasionally, it can't hurt you if something like Survival of the Fittest is out, because then they can just dig it out of their library again. But I do find that the upside on Terminus dealing with indestructible and dealing with graveyard decks is really, really powerful. Swiftfoot Boots coming down for the Ghalta, so they've got all the haste going. I would love to find our Lightning Greaves or Swiftfoot Boots. Start having a little bit more success with Wrexial. Gilded Lotus for the Ur Dragon opponent. And they have Lightning Greaves of their own. Ooh. Lightning Greaves, pretty scary with the Ur Dragon. Opponent 1 mana short of the Ur Dragon. They could play him next turn if they have a land in hand. Ooh. Kambal does seem to be running some removal, so that's good news. So, Kambal, Console of Allocation coming back into play. At least the Ghalta opponent is a ways away from Ghalta at this exact second. Not saying they can't get there over the next turn or two, but it is going to be difficult to have enough removal to deal with the Ur Dragon and Ghalta. Ooh, there's a Geth Lord of the Vault. That is something good. That is finally some good news. Is there anything... We could get Serra Ascendant back. Ooh, we could also get Lightning Greaves. Yeah, I think I like that plan. So, let's get Geth. So, cast Geth. Let's get these Lightning Greaves down. And that'll mill our opponent just a little bit more. So, we've got some Lightning Greaves. And we can actually also get this Serra Ascendant. So, we should do that as well. Sacrifice this Flooded Strand. We need to go find a land. And then we'll grab the Serra Ascendant. Serra Ascendant unfortunately comes in tapped off of the Geth ability. But that is okay. Ooh, nice. We hit a Phyrexian Rebirth. Well, I guess Terminus was also in there. So for some reason that we need to wipe the board, we'll have access to some removal. Kambal's at 50 life, so it seems like we should probably attack them with this Geth. Also, I do not want to attack the Ur Dragon because I really don't want the Ur Dragon to attack us. Primal Rage. Creatures you control have trample. Sounds good to me. Doesn't Ghalta already have trample? Yes. Yes, it does. Interesting. I guess if you're playing other big green creatures that have a lot of power, giving them trample as well, not the worst idea. Personally, I would probably play Nylea over Primal Rage, although opponent may have both. Nylea is weird because it doesn't give trample to itself, and I always forget that whenever I'm playing with it. and then I miscalculate my attacks. And that's not where you want to be. So the Ur Dragon coming down. Did I miscount? I think I must have miscounted last turn. Either way, that's an Ur Dragon with Lightning Greaves on it. Let's see where it goes. Ah, it's coming at us. That is unfortunate. Opponent gets Ojutai, Soul of Winter. Eek. The dragons are starting up. Wow, we're down to 18 already. That's not great. Kambal is going to play a Grave Betrayal. Whenever a creature you don't control dies, return it to the battlefield under your control with an additional +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. That creature is also a black zombie. Oh man, we drew into another land. That's not what we needed. So, I mean, we got to play our commander right here. That's about all we really can do. I could attack with Geth, but I think we're better off leaving Geth as a blocker right now. Actually, I mean, do we play the board wipe? We probably have to. If opponent misses their land drop next turn, they can't afford to recast the Ur Dragon. They have 10 mana currently, and Ur Dragon would cost 11. Although, with the Great Betrayal down, then opponent would gain control of this Ojutai, Soul of Winter. Okay, so I offered up opponent a little deal. If I gave them a dragon, then they can't attack me or tap me down with it. So I'm down for that. We'll swing that there. We'll send the Geth that way, and we'll send this thing into the Ghalta, since we're going to end up wiping the board anyway. So Wrexial going into the Kambal opponent so we can use one of their spells. Geth going into the Ur Dragon, and Serra Ascendant going into the Ghalta. So Wrexial the Risen Deep triggers, and we're going to go for this Phyrexian Rebirth. Cast the Phyrexian Rebirth. Can we get any more value out of... Does not look like it. So that's going to be that. We're going to lose a little bit more life off of the Kambal. And Grave Betrayal is going to trigger a bunch of times. Ooh, that may not have been the best idea. Yeah, maybe Terminus was the right call there. There's a 7/7 Serra Ascendant. And an Ojutai Soul of Winter. So Kambal is now set up. And opponents will have to try to deal with them, which should take the heat off of us. Ooh, we have this homeward path? So we can get our Geth back, and that sounds pretty sweet. There's a Krufix God of Horizons coming down. There's a Savage Ventmaw coming down for our opponent. Puts the boots on it. Decides to stay put with the Savage Ventmaw. Personally, I would have attacked with it, because then that would give him mana for the Ur Dragon next turn. There's a Felidar Sovereign. Yeah, that's a problem. 40 or more life, huh? Opponent's going to play Enlightened Tutor. So opponent going on the attack, going to send their Serra Ascendant into the Ur Dragon opponent. Ur Dragon goes down to 26, and Kambal is up to 51. We draw a Solemn Simulacrum. Not super helpful right there. Yeah, I think we just need to Wrexial and Terminus again. Otherwise, the game will just end. So recast our Wrexial, put some boots on our Wrexial, and swing into the Kambal. So Wrexial triggers, and it's going to have to be the Terminus. So cast Terminus, and all the creatures getting put into the libraries. And that will complete our turn. Garrick's Pack Leader coming down for the Ghalta. It's a 4/4 with Shroud and Haste. Teneb the Harvester coming back down. They will be very sad to know that there are, 0 creatures in the graveyard? Yep, literally 0 creatures in the graveyard. Opponent's going to put Lightning Greaves on their Teneb the Harvester. Opponent's going to keep swinging into us. So we go down to 11. Ugh. Profane Procession. Oh boy. 1 white black. Pay 5. Exile target creature. If there are 3 or more cards exiled with it, transform it. On the backside, add 1 mana of any color. Pay 4. Tap it. Put a creature card exiled with this permanent onto the battlefield under your control. Whew. Well, everything's got Lightning Greaves right now, so they will be hard-pressed to find some targets for that. There's an Erebos God of the Dead for the Kambal opponent. We draw an Aetherize. That is really helpful. That will give us some much-needed protection against anyone that wants to attack into us. Don't know if we have enough to leave up Aetherize and get Wrexial down all at the same time. Let's find out. Wrexial cost a whopping 12. How much mana do we have? We have 10, 11, 12, 13. We'd have 1 mana up. Yeah, we're going to have to go shields down for a turn. Cast Wrexial. So cast our Wrexial. Put Lightning Greaves on the Wrexial. We should be getting down to a point now where removal should just about be gone from everyone's hand. There's been enough big, powerful things that I feel like most of the removal should be emptied out. This Profane Procession can be a little bit annoying, but we do have the Lightning Greaves, so we just have to stay protected behind that. Keep swinging into the Kambal opponent. This will put him to 15 commander damage. If we can find a way to get +1 on Wrexial, we can speed up the commander damage process. So Wrexial hits again. We're going to play the Vampiric Tutor. And I think the thing we need more than anything is card draw. No one really has that many cards in hand. Something like Jace's Archivist could be all right. We do have the Greaves to haste it. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jace's Archivist, because that'll also start putting things into our opponent's graveyard, which would be nice. But like I said, we are down to 9. If the Dragon opponent, yeah, Garrick and the Teneb could kill us in our next turn cycle. Lurking Predators for our opponent. That's a powerful card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put it onto the bottom of your library. Yeah, when that thing starts flipping over creatures, it gets really nasty. We'll let opponents know that I went for a Jace's Archivist in the event that they are looking for some card draw. Dragon's coming back into play. That's a thing. Lurking Predators is going to trigger. Opponent says if we don't attack them next turn, then they'll let us live. I'm down for that. Dragon is going to trigger. This opponent's going to get to draw some cards and put permanents in for free. Finds a Jace Memory Adept. Ooh, there's some milling modes on there. That's exactly what we want. So opponent's going to use their Jace Memory Adept. They're going to draw a card, and target player puts the top card of his or her graveyard. It's another land. Oh, man. I was really hoping for a spell. Opponent is going to use their Profane Procession on the Teneb the Harvester. So that's going to get exiled. Opponent's going to play a Phyrexian Arena. Decides to hold the Erebos back. Sounds good to me. We draw into our Jace's Archivist. This is tricky. So, Aetherize is going to protect us, so I don't immediately want to get rid of that if I don't have to. Lurking Predators is going to trigger again. Opponent finally hits a creature, gets an Arbor Elf. We're going to play our Solemn Simulacrum. Lurking Predators will trigger again. Ooh, opponent gets a Genesis out of it. That's a nasty card. Solemn Simulacrum coming down. We'll get a land. Move the boots over to Jace's Archivist. Swing with the Wrexial into the Kambal, and we will get the Enlightened Tutor. So Wrexial hits, we're going to get the trigger onto the Enlightened Tutor. Cast the Enlightened Tutor. Lurking Predators will trigger again. Ooh, hits a Courser of Krufix. So Enlightened Tutor resolves. The thing that Ooh, Bloodchief Ascension sounds good. As much as I really want card draw, I'm going to go with Bloodchief Ascension, because that will get us much needed life gain, and there aren't a lot of ways for this deck to gain life back. Since we have Jace's Archivist out, if we can get the Bloodchief Ascension active, then we can go pretty crazy and gain a lot of life back very quickly. We've got an opponent at 20 commander damage, by the way. They've been the only one with spells. If they don't have another spell in their graveyard, I'm not exactly sure if we go kill them. Asceticism for our opponent. Oh boy. That card's never caused any problems before. Hexproof and Regenerate. Bow of Nylea coming down for the Ghalta opponent. Ooh, there's an Udvara Hellkite coming down. And there's a new Mott the Devastator. It's all bad news. Lurking Predators is going to trigger again. Oh, opponent has a Stonehoof Chieftain on top of their deck. Yeah, that thing's really strong. Opponent's going to put the Greaves on the Udvara Hellkite. Yep. Oh, so we could Aetherize our opponent, which will put a ton of cards back into their hand. So they'll draw 2 cards with the Dragon, and we can put 2 creatures into their hand, which would give them a number of cards that we could wheel away and then draw into. I like the sound of that. So opponent sending the Dragon into us, so I'm not going to have to feel bad about this at all. We did have a little bit of an agreement going. They seem to have broken it, so they will have to pay the price. So opponent gets some tokens off of the Udvara Hellkite. Dragon's going to get to draw some cards and drop a permanent in. Hoping they whiff on permanents right there. It's unlikely, but could happen. They drop a land. And then we will cast this Aetherize. Lurking Predators will trigger. Opponent draws a card off of the Garrick's Pack Leader. Ooh, and that Stonehoof Chieftain comes into play. That's bad news. Goes up to 4 cards in hand, and then we're going to wheel with the Jace's Archivist. So I'm so glad we kept up that Aetherize, because, yeah, that bought us an extra turn of clinging to life in this game. There's a hero. Ooh, there's a Hero's Downfall and a Stormtide Leviathan. And our Bloodchief Ascension. All right, things are starting to look better. Oh, another Ulamog. Oh, Ulamog's going to wipe away the graveyard again. There's a Solemn Simulacrum, and the Udvara Hellkite goes into the graveyard for the Dragon opponent. Opponent's going to draw a card. Opponent's going to mill the top 10 of our library. Hit one of our wheel effects. Diluvian Primordial is helpful. Opponent's going to move Lightning Greaves to their Steel Hellkite. Sure. There's a Killing Wave. That's a fun... actually, that one won't do much. Opponent says well played on that sequence, telling them still a long uphill battle. Opponent's gonna exile the Numot. It's good news for us. Opponent's gonna play a Bloodchief Ascension of their own. Oh, this is gonna get interesting. Lurking Predators will trigger again. There's our Geth. Geth is back. We could get a Sad Bot. Fortunately, that doesn't help us with blockers at all. We have a Buried Ruin. Are there any artifacts in here that would help? Not really. Play the Buried Ruin. Play our Bloodchief Ascension. Lurking Predators will trigger again. If we play Stormtide Leviathan, we effectively shut down the green opponent from being able to attack into us. But that will eat up a lot of our mana. And I think that's honestly the bigger concern. Oh, this is so tough. I mean, oh man, if we loot with Jace's Archivist, there's a chance that we hit literal nothing. I think it's our best bet, though. We really need, like, Cyclonic Rift or something like that. I'm not casting anything because I want to leave up maximum mana for anything that we draw into, like Cyclonic Rift. The problem is that there's so many ways that we just die to the dragon opponent. Oh, and we caught literal nothing off of that. We had a couple Planeswalkers, not helpful. Yeah, that's probably going to be it. Yeah, nothing we can do about it at this point, so just going to have to face the facts on this one. Just because it's really hard to do, we're going to kill the Kambal opponent with Wrexial Commander damage. Lurking Predators will trigger again, so Kambal goes down. We do get the kill with Commander damage off of Wrexial, which is really hard to do. We do get a counter on Bloodchief Ascension, and maybe we survive back to our next turn. It's unlikely. Oh, opponent has Primal Surge on top of their deck. Exile top card of your library. If it's a permanent, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you do, repeat this process. Wonder if they have their... Yeah, that would make sense. I haven't seen any spells in our opponent's deck. There's a Ghalta coming into play. Mana Crypt. Is this the Primal Surge? Is opponent going to go for it? There's a Reclamation Sage. Takes down the Lightning Greaves on the Steel Hellkite. So, Ghalta sending all the big stuff into the dragon opponent. Doesn't look lethal just yet, but it will tag them for quite a bit. Let's see, 20... Looks like they got 28 coming in. Oh, actually this may be just about lethal, due to the Trample and Death Touch. Oh, the Ur Dragon survives at 1 life. Oh, man. And somehow we're still... This actually means... I think we're going to see another turn. Oh, my God. We did get a Void Winnower out of our opponent's hand, which is a really good thing, because Void Winnower can ruin your day. We get another counter on Bloodchief Ascension. This has the potential to make things interesting. Ooh. Yep, get another counter on there. Oh, that's a Crux of Fate. Oh my god. Destroy all non-dragons? We'll get to, we will lose our Jace's Archivist, which we kind of needed. But we're also going to lose our Wrexial and our... We will get to draw off Solemn Simulacrum, so that's something. I think that one guy is still indestructible, though, which is kind of a problem. Yep, so the Stonehoof Chieftain stays around. We get to draw. That's a Grave Titan. Grave Titan gives us blockers. That thing have trample? Yeah, of course it has trample. It always has trample. There's a Shieldred. That's a card. That'll take care of the Stonehoof Chieftain, unless they find something with his Lurking Predators. Oh my god, we have a chance. Opponent's gonna mill. So back to our turn. Shieldred trigger. We have no creatures, so no big deal there. Opponent revealed a Sol Ring with the Lurking Predators the last time it triggered, and they did put it to the bottom of their library, which means that there is a chance by us casting something that they could hit into a creature. Yeah, we're probably gonna cycle that thing. First off, how much is Wrexial? 14 mana. How much mana do we have? 3, 6, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 18 mana. We could have 19 if we play an untapped land. That is unfortunately one short of Wrexial and Grave Titan. Grave Titan will be much better here because of the tokens into the Shieldred. So I think we start by cycling this land. Come on, something big. That's a Tectonic Edge. Not particularly helpful. So we have our Urborg in play, which can remove Swamp Walk from Shieldred, which we may have to do. Man, we've caught so many lands this game. Oh man, we can't catch big draws at all. I'm going to play the Strip Mine because if we get the Bloodchief Ascension active, then the Strip Mine does give us one more way to gain some life back. And right now, I just want to gain a lot of life. Lurking Predator is going to trigger. Hope it misses. Come on. Miss one time. It did not miss. Oh boy. Oh, things are gonna get complicated now. Ooh, opponent has a Genesis in their graveyard. That's a problem. If they lose this Mana Crypt flip, Bloodchief Ascension should be active. So opponent sacrifices their smaller creature, Come on, lose this flip one time. They lost the flip. Oh, if we just need to survive. If we can survive, we can get Bloodchief Ascension active, and we might be able to squeak this game out. Oh, there's a chance. There is a chance. Oh, hey, that's a Primal Surge for our opponent. Let's see if it hits their entire deck. Oh, actually, yeah. So opponent had the Primal Surge in hand, which meant that they were probably going to win anyway. I assume that they built this deck to be a Primal Surge deck. So let's see if they hit everything. So opponent's down to one card in library. Hopefully they accidentally draw with their Soul of the Harvest by accident and deck themselves. Ghalta coming back down. Oh my god! Opponent just cast a creature into their Zendikar Resurgent. I think they killed themselves. When you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Oh my god, it takes them down! Nice! We're gonna survive back to our turn. I hope we still get the counter on Bloodchief Ascension. Yes! Yes! Oh my god, we're still alive. So, Shieldred triggers. They're gonna get, what are they getting? Dragonlord Silumgar. Oh, that's not good. Well, we have a homeward path. We should be alright. So, Dragonlord Silumgar coming into play. Gonna take control of our Grave Titan. Oh my god. I bet does opponent attack in with the Shieldred? Please attack in with the Shieldred. Opponent's gonna use the draw a card and mill mode on Jace. Teamer Ascendant. Ooh. Teamer Ascendancy is a problem. That animates Crewfix, which is another problem. We have many problems right now. Oh wait, we have Bloodchief Ascension. Oh my god. So turn off all auto yields. All we have to do is crack this strip mine. And Bloodchief Ascension's gonna kill our opponent. Oh my god. There's an Atarka World Render. Sure. So opponent's going on the attack. Whole bunch of things trigger. We're gonna strip mine to blow up this guild gate and hope that this Bloodchief Ascension finishes the job. Use the Bloodchief Ascension for the win! Oh my god, we got there! Oh my god! Oh. I mean, we had absolutely no business winning that game. The Galt opponent had a super lethal board state. There was no reason to cast their commander right there. They literally just needed to go to combat and kill both of us, which they would have been able to do very easily. All right, so yeah, let's walk through this game a little bit. One, we kept a pretty spotty opening hand. It was 5 lands, which would have been all right if we drew into some card draw and some other action, but we drew so many lands this game. I don't think we missed a land drop throughout the game. It was opponent's turn 13, I believe. I'm not sure if we had our turn 13 yet, and we had 12 lands in play, so we had hit almost every single land drop, and we didn't accelerate off of anything. So we drew so many lands, and things got really awkward because everyone was playing Eldrazi, and the Eldrazi were recycling their graveyards into their library. We got 0 value off of that Traumatize that we played early, and the Dragon opponent would have had a ton of awesome creatures for our Rise of the Dark Realms, and probably would have had some decent spells in there. They had Cultivate and some Removal, which is always really good, and we just lost all of that when the Ulamog shuffled everything. So that was bad news. The Primal Surge deck had 0 spells because it's a Primal Surge deck, and so we had to beat up on the Kambal opponent since they were the only one with spells in their graveyard, and we actually got the commander kill on them. That's not something you get to do too often with Wrexial. Not a super aggressive commander. It really takes a while for him to get there, especially with this particular build. If you built Wrexial in a way where he's like a Voltron commander, and you're going to stack up a bunch of equipment on him and stuff, sure, he could probably get there reasonably fast, but this particular version really just kind of wants to mill things and play spells. Though maybe adding like a Luxodon Warhammer and 1 or 2 other things in there to speed up the commander damage process probably wouldn't be the worst idea. So yeah, as far as our deck did not perform super well, at least in terms of we drew a ton of lands. Our Altar of the Brood got blown up early, which had milled 12 cards in 3 turns. So if that had stuck around, that would have kept the milling going. We would have been able to get so much more value out of the things that we were playing. The one turn that I was thinking about while I was watching opponent combo off with the Primal Surge was whether we should have played the Stormtide Leviathan or not. And the way that I can justify this right now is that we ended up winning the game, so what we did must have been correct, even though deep down I know that it probably wasn't. The thing that I was worried about, if we played the Stormtide Leviathan, then the green player can't attack, and then I'm not sure if the Dragon's opponent comes directly at us. By playing Stormtide Leviathan, that shows that we have some big stuff, and if that makes the Dragon opponent nervous, then they just kill us. But actually, I don't even think it would have mattered that much because they played the Crux of Fate on the Ur-Dragon's turn. So I think we would have just lost our Stormtide Leviathan anyway, without really getting any value out of it. Now, we could have used the Hero's Downfall, but I was really hoping to catch Cyclonic Rift or Tutor into Cyclonic Rift because that was what we really needed to stay alive right there. I didn't want to use our mana on something where I knew we could still die. So we went the super passive route, and just by not looking like a super huge threat, no one killed us, which was amazing. Then that brings us to the Primal Surge play. So our opponent was playing a Primal Surge deck, no spells, so when you play Primal Surge, you get everything in your deck, which is really bad when you're playing Wrexial because you want to be casting spells out of your opponent's graveyard. But yeah, opponent made a huge misplay, had 10 times lethal on board, and decided they wanted to play their commander to overkill it a little bit more, and killed themselves with the Zendikar Resurgent. First off, I doubt that they'll make that mistake again. They'll probably realize that Zendikar Resurgent is not a May in the future. I think I've also learned that it's not a May. After watching a game like that, it's going to be much easier for that to stick in my brain after seeing a game like that. And then finally, we got that Bloodchief Ascension active just in time. Otherwise, I think our opponent would have easily killed us right there with the Tarka that came down. Although I was prepared to get tricky by removing Swamp Walk from Shieldred and blocking with the tokens. We also had Homeward Path to get back our Grave Titan. Maybe we would have hung in there, I'm not sure. But yeah. Opponent lost the Mana Crypt flip at the exact perfect second, which allowed us to get our Bloodchief Ascension active. Yeah, so, oh my god. So, yeah, we... I can't even form words about it. So, we shouldn't have won the game. The Ghalta should have easily just won the game. They punted, opening up the door for us to get there with the Bloodchief Ascension. So, oh man, this is one for the record books. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.